Yesterday, when we reported to you the press release from the government, from the Pentagon, announcing the strikes against ISIS in Syria and Iraq, I mentioned that at the bottom of that press release, there was a very short sentence that alluded to the fact that in conjunction with these attacks on the Islamic State in Syria and Iraq, the U.S. also conducted some dozen or so strikes against a group called the Khorasan group, previously a group that Americans had been told not very much about, and a group that is disconnected. It is a completely separate incursion from that against ISIS. And we speculated yesterday, Lewis, is this just an opportunity from the U.S. government to go after someone they've been targeting for a while under the umbrella of military action generally in the area? Is this some kind of a distraction? Is this fulfilling some other kind of political goal? And we now are starting to get more and more reports about this Khorasan group. And before yesterday's announcement of this military action, the American Tomahawk missiles were not focused, at least to our knowledge, on this group, the Khorasan group. And U.S. intelligence agencies claim to have been tracking this group's movement for years, but until now, the White House had not chosen to take military action. And as it happened, the attacks on the Islamic State finally have created a reasonable pretext, or at least reasonably reasonable, if that term makes any sense, to go after the Khorasan group. And the Syrian airstrikes have obviously raised questions of, if the Khorasan group truly posed a significant, imminent, and real threat to the American homeland before the flare-up of ISIS, why didn't we already go up against them? Why didn't we already strike them? And if it's not true that they actually pose this level of a threat, then what is the real reason for which we're going after them now? Something, Lewis, about the timing and about the messaging on this is not making total sense to me.
I think that if we are in fact going after this group, who knows if we're conducting any airstrikes against this group at all. I think that our government is telling us this because they want these strikes and this action to appear as if it's helping us somehow. In addition to helping the Syrian people, the Iraqi people.
And do you believe that maybe what's going on is that there has not really been a credible case made that ISIS presents a threat to the homeland, and thus this is kind of being rolled in to make it a more appealing total package of strikes?
Even ISIS claims that they do not have the intention of attacking the United States, at least not right now. They've laid out their mission and their goals, and that is to take over certain places very far away from us. So I think that we just needed to throw in something to make it seem like we're being kept safe. And this group that I've never heard of, that you've never heard of, seems to be kind of the scapegoat for that.
Well, any group that has one bomb, that has one missile, that has one rocket launcher, could create chaos, could shoot down a plane, right? Could kill people. But should we be bombing all of those groups? Is it the responsibility of the U.S.? Is it prudent and logical? And I recognize that if one of these small groups, like the Khorasan group, if they do commit an act of terror, if they do kill people, and the U.S. knew about them and did not act, there will be criticisms, right? There's absolutely no question of that. But many of these groups, while distinct in their makeup, right, their location, their capabilities, the population that makes them up, they are really fundamentally ideologies. And I question, broadly speaking, and I've been questioning this for a really long time if you've been paying attention to our show at all, I question whether more bombs, Lewis, can eradicate an ideology, or whether more bombs foment the ideologies we're really trying to stamp out.
It could go either way. Certainly in Iraq, it did not help. We created more terrorists by using bombs and by sending troops. And I hope that's not what happens here.
Send me your thoughts on this. What do you think about this carefully worded, bottom of the release mention that we're also going after this other group, which we haven't even talked to you about in the past?